Hello, I'm Irma Baker. Welcome to our show. We're sponsored by RSVP, the Retired Senior Volunteer Program, and that's a part of Mature Services, which serves Medina County and Summit County. Well, after a word from Mature Services, we're going to be right back with today's guests, people you know in another media form. We'll be right back.
RSVP of Summit County has been making a difference in our community since 1972. RSVP volunteers are increasing the quality of life by participating in programs and organizations that provide important services to the community. RSVP matches personal interests and skills with opportunities to serve. If you're interested in adding more meaning to your life and improving the lives of others, please call 330-253-4597, extension 166.
Welcome back. Our guests today are the voice of Wadsworth, Wadsworth Community Radio hosts of the morning show, Tina Heiberg and Tom Stugmeyer. It's wonderful to have you with us today, and thank you so much for coming out on this cold morning.
Well, thanks for having us. We appreciate it. I know we finally got all the schedules together where we were able to do it.
Yes, it always is a juggling act, and I am amazed with what you're able to do coming in every morning, 5 mornings a week. Tell us what that's like.
Well, first, I think it's interesting to note it's really 3 of us that make this happen, and I don't think you would know that if we didn't tell you that, because I've been working in the business almost 10 years, and to have just 3 people doing what we do, I think is amazing. So it's fun, it's entertaining, it's low-key. I mean, it doesn't feel like work to me, and I have the blessing of doing some of the morning show from home. So I can be with my 2 boys. So it doesn't get a whole lot better than that.
And it's a real thrill for me because I'd never been in radio before. I mean, my experience in radio has been about 20 minutes now. And but I was in manufacturing for 35 plus years, and then the company downsized or whatever, and then I came down here, and just about the time that the radio station was getting going, and originally just started out on the board, and then the original gentleman that was doing the morning show with Tina was not able to do it anymore, and it was kind of, well, you kind of know downtown and you kind of know Wadsworth, and would you like to try it? And I thought, a little hesitation, but get out of your comfort zone, and I absolutely love it.
And you can tell he would take the whole 26 minutes that we have if we let him, so we kind of have to reel him in from time to time.
There's nothing in your teeth, don't worry about it. You're fine, just keep talking, smile.
Well, Tina, I think that you're very capable of matching and keeping things balanced here.
I have to hold my own with him. Like I said, lots of fun in the morning. And I think we were talking about this. You have to have a big personality to be a personality on radio and TV, I think. In big personality, I don't mean annoying per se. Sure hope we don't come off that way. But entertaining and able to just kind of go back and forth with each other and have that friendly banter. And I think we do that pretty well.
We try, try.
Well, I think that what you have in that morning show is an opportunity for people in the area or people who are tuning to the show via the internet. You give them that opportunity to have breakfast with somebody. You're there almost as members of the family or the neighbor next door who pops in for a cup of coffee. You have those personalities that just seem to be, hey, I want to talk to these people. That's why we have you on the show today. We want to give your listeners, as well as our viewers, a chance to get to know you a little better.
I just want to be real. My life is wonderful, not perfect, and I have a house full of crazy boys, from my 2 dogs are boys, of course my husband, my 2 human boys, and there's a lot to juggle. There's always something going on, never a dull moment. I talk about real life things. I kind of relate myself to Taylor Swift in the fact that, and I know you love her, I love her, but she's so relatable because she talks about what she knows, and I talk about what I know. I love working in Wadsworth. One of the things I wanted to say was, I love Wadsworth because it's so welcoming, and not just on a first-time basis, meeting someone for the first time or a new business coming, but it's like it just opens your arms to whoever comes in, and people talk to you in the elevator, people talk to you on the street, people come up to the station in the middle of the show just to say hi to us. We love it, really.
We do, yeah, they do. They'll just stop in, and we've had, I mean, people from the city stop in. I mean, not even administration, people that they're down working on, you know, the crews or whatever will stop up and say hello to us. And you mentioned about people having breakfast. Right after you did the news this morning, I got a text from one of our listeners, said, sitting here with a cup of coffee, listening to you guys going to a concert tonight in Cleveland, you know, starting off the day with you guys. And we get little notes like that all the time, and it's really nice to know that you can at least put a little smile on somebody's face. So
it kind of makes the morning, just brings together that good start to the day, considering all the tragic news that we hear on the radio. It's nice to be able to tune in to someplace where you do get this feeling that, hey, not everything is bad. And if it is bad, well, we can still get through it.
Well, the nice thing that we do too is everything we do is local. I mean, you know, we'll cover the Cleveland sports teams because, you know, the Cavs, they're local to us. But you know, you'll hear about the library lot being blocked off because of some street work before something in Afghanistan. I mean, that's just it's all local, and that's the information that we get out there that you can't get in a lot of places. So that's what we try and do.
Yeah, it's done on purpose that way. So as you may know, being in the radio business, news business, that was one of the things that really bothered me. I started off at WAKR, loved it, ONE and QMX, then went to Channel 5. And the thing that people will constantly say is, I'm so tired of the dark, depressing news. And so was I. I know you have to talk about some of it, but in a way I almost feel like talking about all of this dark, depressing news creates this culture of depression, creates this just, I don't know, almost even numbness at times, and then maybe even spurs other things to happen. So we purposely sought out to make sure that our morning show would consist of news that was relevant to Wadsworth, but 90% of it be things that you wouldn't hear about if you turned on a Cleveland television station or an Akron radio station. So, you know, just the Grizzlies run, the basketball season, some of the other things, just talking about Santa being in the gazebo during the Christmas season. Lots of things like that that you just wouldn't think were important, and they're huge, and we know they're huge because our Facebook following is tremendous, and people really speak out that way and say, didn't know about this, or thank you for sharing this, and oh my goodness, you know, we need to know about this. Can you tell us where we can find best place to eat or a cute little shop to bring our kids to, things in the area, just fun, family-oriented things to do. And that's what I love, that we get to share all of that with our listeners.
Well, we've had a lot of neat guests and things that came up too that were surprises to us. And of course, we all know Mike Foreman, the astronaut and former Wadsworth resident. Well, we had Mike up several times, and he's sitting there behind the microphone, and he looks around and he goes, "This was my dad's law office. I played in here as a kid. I used to ride the elevator." You know, and so it was kind of a return home for him. You know, that he sat right there in the office behind the microphone and played as a kid. And then it was after the football season last year. We find out that there's an NFL referee here in town that has a business here in town. And we had him come up, and we were going to interview him or whatever. And he walks in the studio, and he goes, "Tom." I go, "Mark." Mark Steinkirchner owns American Pro Mold here in town. I've known Mark and had worked with him purchasing rubber parts because I was in manufacturing since 1985. Had no idea he was an NFL referee, had no idea whatsoever. He didn't know I was doing the show, and all of a sudden it was like, wow. So we've had a lot of really neat surprises like that, and got to meet people like that here in town. It's really been cool.
Well, that's the value of a community radio station. You aren't limited to covering all the world news. There are plenty of stations out there and channels out there that are doing that. But you bring something to radio that is so unique in that you can focus on anybody, anywhere in the community. But I'm kind of interested. You come from such very different backgrounds. You, Tom, you've been in manufacturing. This is something that's almost a hobby and avocation for you. Tina, you've been a professional in the field for, what did you say, 10, 12 years?
Almost 10, yes, yep.
So how did the two of you come to be the team that's the voice of Wadsworth?
So Wadsworth Community Radio found me. The original person who started this under the gracious donation of Joe Arpad, he came to me. He knew I was a stay-at-home mom at the time. I took some time off after Channel 5 to just be mommy. And I don't say just like that's all I was. I loved every second of it. Maybe not every second, but much of it. And I spent a year and a half at home. And then it was becoming time where I was ready to get back into the workforce, and the job found me, and I said, this is a perfect fit, close to home, just part-time, couple of hours a day. I want to get back into it. And of course, doing the good side of news really was instrumental in the decision-making for me. And so Tom, at the time, was taking photos for us because he was already there as part of, I believe, Oz 2.
Right, and Main Street and Oz 2, right?
Right, all of the 17 other hats that you wear. And so he would take photos of our guests, and we would post these professional photos. And I think he happened to be in the right place at the right time. Although I don't believe in coincidence, I'm sure there was a bigger being at power here. And it worked out so well because Tom was my favorite from the start. We've always been just a very small group of people to get the station launched, and he was my favorite. You know, you just connect with some people from the beginning, and that's how it was with him. So it seemed like a perfect match when Matt, who was our original morning show host, wasn't able to continue, although he still does some imaging for us. It just seemed like a great transition. We wanted someone who was connected to the community, and I don't know a more involved man in Wadsworth than Mr. Wadsworth himself.
And see, and I'll be the first one to tell her she has something in her teeth.
No, he won't, actually. I don't believe much that comes out of his mouth, but that's what kind of makes him fun. I will say, though, when you need him, well, not me, he always puts me on the back burner, but when other people in this wonderful community need him, he is there. He is, he's council person now, he's, what are you, downtown Wadsworth, Main Street, you're just, he's got his hands in everything, but he is a trustworthy man, I'll tell you that.
Well, that makes all the difference because you have to be able to trust each other to have that good rapport. As you're broadcasting it. And I think you're both so dedicated because your show runs from 6 in the morning to 9 in the morning. I mean, you're both getting up kind of early. You've got to, you've got the kids at home and the kids, the husband. You've got all your many years of professional business experience. Probably thinking, okay, I'm retired from manufacturing, maybe I should take it easy, and instead you're getting up at some dark hour of the morning.
That's one of the fun things. We know everything about each other because when it's just the two of you working together every day, Monday through Friday, you know everything about each other. I could finish sentences for him. I know it probably sounds funny, but he gets up at 3:30. He eats eggs for breakfast. What else he can play the nose flute? Really talented, huh?
I didn't bring it today. It's not in my coat pocket. I threatened, but I thought, no, I won't do that to you.
But yeah, we have a great relationship, and we like to joke around with each other. Clearly, one of us more than the other probably, but we have a really good time. He's lots of fun.
What have been some of the surprises of doing this kind of show? There been any surprises, things you didn't expect, or maybe a guest that turned out to be not what you expected?
I have to laugh because there are sometimes things that with technology that go on that you're always trying to come up with, oops, that was technological error. Well, sometimes it might be, I'm not going to point any fingers or anything, but maybe he had the wrong button on, because he kind of acts as our engineer at the station too. So there have been, and I'm just being honest, some guests who have been very difficult to interview, and it really challenges the skills that you have. other guests who I would have in every single day. Some of my favorites are Roger Wright, love talking to him, Seth Breedlove, who's our resident Bigfoot or monster investigator. I find certain people so fascinating because they're so different than me, and they offer an insight that I think just challenges the way you think sometimes. And you go into an interview sometimes thinking one thing. With Seth Breedlove, I thought, oh, he's this big Bigfoot lover, and does he realize he's looking for a monster that's not really there? And he came into it completely different than what I thought. He's not really sure that there is a Bigfoot. And so certain guests intrigue me. I don't know about you.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly, they've gone that way. And again, probably my surprise again was Mark Steinkirchner, that I had known him for so many years, and then realized that that his secret life as an NFL referee or whatever. But that was probably the biggest surprise for me. Yeah.
Well, I love that Wadsworth has this incredible variety of amazing people, and I mean amazing, not even just from Mark, who's an NFL referee. I mean, what a cool job that is. But even our teachers, our former Wadsworth graduates that we have had on our show, just the everyday person, because what I love about doing this is I find people fascinating. I find everyone's story fascinating, and I love to, obviously, that's why we do this job, I love to talk with people. And so we're not really timed in our interviews, and it just makes it so much less stressful and easier to get to know the person that we're talking with.
The autonomy that you have in putting the show together, I'm sure that there are national broadcasters who would just be so envious of all the freedom that you have.
That's what I love about it. I'm not even going to lie. It has structure, but not so much so that you just feel so restricted and that it's just mainstream media. I wanted out of mainstream media. I was done for various reasons, not all bad or anything like that, but I love the freedom. I mean, who else could work from home doing a morning show several days a week?
Well, and I know you can appreciate being in the mainstream media, that that very structured, 29, this is over, you can do this or do that, or we've got to get this in, and I'm coming from the other end of that, where of course I appreciate it, and that's why I like it so much. But to me, I never had to deal with that part of it. It's like, okay, we want to interview. We want, this is going really well. It's a half hour, fine. Okay,
right.
We're going to go for a half hour.
Right.
And then if there's sometimes that whatever people are coming in to talk about, it's 10 or 15 minutes, and that's fine. But you're much more can be much more appreciative of that, because you were under that different umbrella that we're not.
Oh my gosh, that pressure has been released, and I love it. I love that freedom. Thank you for freedom. I don't know why I'm thanking you like you're my boss or something, but I do. I love it. It's flexible. It's fun. You have that freedom. I couldn't love it. I really couldn't love it anymore, truthfully.
You're really a small operation. You said that there are 3 of you, and you do it all. I think for many people who tune in just to enjoy listening to you every morning, I think that may come as a surprise to some of the people, that you're not, okay, 6 to 9, we're on the radio, we go home, goodbye, somebody else does the work. Not that way at all.
No, so how it kind of works is Joe Jastrzemski, who is our other news and sports talent, and also he subs in, or he joins in on the morning show with us. Yes,
sure.
There's Joe. He's amazing too. So I think that Tom and Joe's life allowed them to be more flexible with their time in terms of some of the night events, the sporting events that they can get to that I can't. So we kind of have our own things that we do. We all are so talented in different ways. So you have Tom, who is our co-host, our engineer, our professional photographer for the station. Then you have me, who kind of goes out. I'm the co-host, I do news, yes. I'm the family person, so I attend the family events, I find the family events for our listeners, and I do all of our social media, and that's a constant thing. That's a any hour of the day kind of thing, keeping everybody up to date. And then you have Joe, who's really dedicated to news and sports and council and broadcasting play-by-play for the Wadsworth High School games. And so we all have these niches, and I think it works so well together because we're so good at different things that it makes it unable for people to detect that there's only 3 of us doing this. Don't you think?
Yeah, well, and it's funny you talk about some of the technology part. There'll be times when somebody that was in the studio or whatever did part of an interview, and it was very good, and we needed to use it in the news, so they were in. So I would record it and take the audio and cut it out and put it in while Tina's writing the news part of the story, and then at the top of the next hour, we've covered it. So I mean, we have that flexibility, but again, it sounds like, oh, we sent that downstairs to production, and
we are production. We are the news. We are your entertainment.
Well, and some of the things that we're able to do too, and again with that hometown community. For example, yesterday I was at the Chamber of Commerce luncheon, and the Wadsworth Show Choir performed. Took the microphones, recorded it, and those are the programs that we play during Christmas. If we're going to play Christmas choir music, we're going to play our own Christmas choir people.
Right.
We're going to the elementary schools and recording some shows. We're going to some of the churches and recording shows, and those are the concerts that we play. So it's that freedom that allows us to do what we do, and it's really neat.
Well, you say that it's part-time, and certainly from us, maybe the rigid understanding of part-time it is. But you're really on call all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
If the station goes off air, that's Tom. He's got to figure out how to fix it. When the Cavs won the NBA championship, that's me. I'm up every night making sure that, updating people what the score is. Yay, we won, we're champs, or this and that, and making sure that social media is up to date, and then having a story for our newscast the next morning. And our fans love that, and they love following Grizzlies sports. My goodness, the boys basketball picture Joe posted over a couple of days ago when they had their first game. Just a crazy amount of people that like it, share it, comment on it. This town loves everything Wadsworth, and I think we do a really good job of bringing everything that's important to Wadsworth, if that makes sense.
And it was a real honor to be able to cover it, like the girls' state run. Of course, the state championship is nice regardless, but it was really an honor to be part of that. I mean, and you talk about the social media that Tina does. When the girls came around and they did their little tour before they went to Columbus, she was out and with they took the little video and put it up on the Facebook page, and just to show how people love the local news. 50-some thousand views on that video.
Crazy.
And it was simply, I don't want to say simply, but it was a little 8 or 10 second video of the girls coming through the square waving on their way to Columbus. But again, the engagement that the community has is in what is Wadsworth is what makes our job easy. I mean, we almost feel like Forrest Gump.
This community is so connected and interconnected.
Yeah.
And now with Facebook Live, we start to do some of our, we have people come on the show who are singing, and those videos just take off. I mean, thousands and thousands of views and shares, and we just have a fun time.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, because your broadcast area is not that wide.
Right.
The radio frequency is not that strong a frequency, so it's not like you're broadcasting to 50,000 people.
Well, potentially, because we have the internet.
Right. The internet makes you international.
Right.
And it sounds like if you're getting 50,000 hits or 50,000 likes or that on what you're putting up there, then people are really paying attention to what you're doing. And I totally admire what you're doing and how dedicated you are to doing that. I'm thinking, my gosh, getting up at 3:30 in the morning and then going to a community dinner that evening, which means you did not get to bed all that early.
Right.
And you with the 2 children, and you're getting up also early in the morning and going to community events in the day and the evening and all, that you are both a real asset to our Wadsworth community.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And we have to mention too that again, WCTV too. The things that WCTV does too for town, because we wouldn't be able to be sitting here without WCTV. Again, this is This is the give and take, and this is Wadsworth. And WCTV wouldn't have been as successful as it has been and is without the same things that we deal with also make you successful too. So.
Well, is there anything that you'd like the viewers to know? We have about a minute left. What is there anything you really like to say to the viewers?
Watch it. Watch it.
I really enjoy, no, I'm kidding. Just thank you. Thank you for supporting us. We haven't had, and I'm not lying when I say this, we haven't had one negative comment about our show. And I'm sure they're out there. I'm not saying that. We don't think that we're perfect. Always room for improvement. Please let us know if you'd like to hear something different. But the community really receives us well, and it's really heartwarming to me. Being in mainstream media left a little bit of a sour taste in some areas, and people can be downright nasty at times, and so this is such a treat. And too, I think that the way that the community is realizing that we're out there and is reaching out to us, you know, much the same way. Hey, we've got this dinner. Can WCTV take, you know, video it for us? And we're getting calls like that too. You know, can you cover it on the radio? Can you do a story about it? It's nice to be recognized like that. Yeah.
Well, we thank you for all that you're doing for Wadsworth. It's wonderful to have you and the radio station here, and it's wonderful to have you tune in and watch our show. We thank you so much, and we hope that you'll remember our sponsor, RSVP and Mature Services, and have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Since 1971, RSVP has been matching volunteers' talents to community needs. RSVP is affiliated with the Corporation for National and Community Service, a national organization that supports service and volunteering through grant-funded projects. Volunteers organize neighborhood watch programs, tutor children, renovate homes, plant community gardens, assist victims of natural disasters, and serve their communities in many other ways. RSVP offers maximum flexibility and choice to its volunteers as it matches the personal interests and skills of Americans 55 and older with opportunities to serve their communities. If you're interested in adding more meaning to your life and improving the lives of others, please call 330-253-4597, extension 166.